For Azcentral Sports, I'm Katherine Fitzgerald here with Jeff Metcalfe, Greg Moore. We're on the field after ASU just upset number 13 Michigan State, 16-13 at Sun Devil Stadium. We're going to start with what happened from you, Jeff, before we go to how it happened with you, Greg. So, late game play, break it down for us.
Yeah, I'll tell you how I felt. There you could sort of feel the heat starting to take an effect. And it didn't necessarily manifest itself in the third quarter, except that Michigan State had to call a timeout 2 plays into the third quarter because ASU was coming out with 4 wide receivers and they were a little confused about what was going on. Well, later on, not having that timeout, played into the fact that ASU was able to run the clock out. By the time you got to the early fourth quarter, I think you could start to see they're not nearly doing what they did on offense early in the game. They're not sustaining drives. They're punting the ball back to ASU. Then what happens? ASU strikes for a big, finally breaks through with a touchdown on 2 plays, ties the game up. Basically by then, I think Greg would agree with this, I felt like ASU had control of the game, and it was just a matter of how it was going to finish up. And sure enough, they stopped him again, got the ball back, killed basically the last 5 minutes of the game. I thought it was great time management by ASU at the end of the game and taking advantage of having the home field, the heat, the late start for Michigan State. All that we talked about before the game all came into play.
Yeah, and you mentioned running the clock out. That eventually led to Brandon Ruiz coming on with 3 seconds left to get the field goal, sealing the win as time ran out. Greg, what were you seeing that led up to that?
Sun Devils belief. Arizona State completely believes in everything that Coach Herman Edwards has given them, that Coach Danny Gonzalez has given them, that Coach Rob Likens has given them. They trusted the game plan, which was spread Michigan State out, go sideline to sideline. And there wasn't a lot of movement early on in the game, right? That offense was very stagnant, but they believed that it was the right thing to do, and they kept executing. And sure enough, after a while, Michigan State inevitably got tired, as Jeff was saying, and that opened up some opportunities. They believed that their preparation had them in position to win the game. Manny ends up going on a scramble. N'Keal Harry holds his block. Manny slides, stays in bounds. They get the ball down close to the end zone. They don't worry about going for a touchdown. They take a couple of knees. They kick the field goal. It's over. They practice that scenario. It's what they just told us in the press conference. They said they work on these things, and they believe it to be true, so they fully trust it. Herman Edwards said he had to earn that trust, but we're only 2 games into the season. You couldn't have had a better win in week 1, 49-7. It was 49-0 before UTSA finally scored. And then this week you knock off number 13. Potentially we're looking at Arizona State in the top 25, and I don't know that that was a reasonable expectation coming into this season.
Yeah, big win for Herm Edwards. He's here. It's exciting to watch. And you mentioned, too, how ASU early on was, even if it wasn't getting them first downs, they were spreading their offense to try to tire out Michigan State. That's something offensive coordinator Rob Likens mentioned, that was their game plan coming in. They wanted to tire them out. You mentioned seeing it take place later in the fourth quarter. What else do you think was happening on the Michigan State side that allowed ASU to lead with the win?
I think it was really interesting in the first half because there were some times there where ASU could have fallen into a pretty deep hole. And if you remember, Michigan State went down the field. They're already ahead in the game. They're about to add to the lead, and ASU comes up with an interception in the end zone. I mean, there were some key points of this game where it could have gotten away from them. And I thought Brian Lewerke did a very nice job, and they had the kind of sustained drives that ASU was fearful of them putting. They had a 7-minute, 30-second drive. They had a 5-minute, almost a 5.5-minute drive. And if they'd been able to keep that up, or they'd been able to hit down there instead of Daz Tatalatasi coming up with an interception, this game might have ended entirely different. Instead, like last year against Washington, blackout game, they win 13-7 over number 5 Washington. They pull it off again, like Greg just said. I mean, it's not inconceivable at all that, tomorrow they're in the top 25. I believe that too.
They had a few of those really long drives. They also had one 27-second drive, 2 plays, Manny Wilkins, 2 long passes, results in a touchdown. I found that to be a momentum changer for the Sun Devils. It was really explosive. Greg, what were you seeing happening there?
No, absolutely, it was a big momentum changer. again, this goes back to belief. Manny believes he can make these plays. Manny believes he can make these throws. He'd missed on deep balls several times. They called a play, Arizona State called a play that you hadn't seen. Kyle Williams breaks open, and Manny fires, boom, with a strike. Kyle makes one little move, gets up the field, it's 30-something yards. The next play, Manny delivers. They decide to go one-on-one on N'Keal Harry. Michigan State covers N'Keal one-on-one. They've been blanketing him with a safety over the top. Sometimes they go one-on-one. Michigan State had a 6'3" corner. You've got to believe that this guy has pro potential, that they would even consider leaving him out there on N'Keal by himself. And what does N'Keal do? He keeps working it, he keeps working it, he gets open, makes a tough catch, falls into the end zone for a touchdown. And it all goes back to the fact that Manny and N'Keal believed that if they took enough shots, they were going to hit on one of them. And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, so belief a big factor, heat a big factor. Lots of things going for the Sun Devils tonight as they win 16-13 at home. The Big Ten is now 0-10 at Sun Devil Stadium, so that's a fun stat.
Not if you're from the Midwest.
Yeah, fun stat for ASU fans. Out-of-state people, not so much. But ASU, successful at home. They'll hit the road next. Jeff, what are you looking for next week?
Well, they're going to San Diego State, and of course, the big storyline there is going to be the return of Danny Gonzalez, the defensive coordinator, and the cornerbacks coach Tony White, where they coached last year and before that. So it'll be interesting to see with them coming back. They know a lot about what San Diego State does. It's going to help in the preparation, no doubt. But you're taking a still inexperienced team on the road for the first time, and we know San Diego State is a credible team. Even though they lost their opener to Stanford, it's not going to be easy either.
No, a young team, but should be feeling good this week. We'll have more breakdown of tonight's game analysis all week long, so check azcentral.com for more on tonight's game.